It's going. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Gage podcast with Toby Couple. That is me, if y'all don't already know. And today, you guys, we have a very special guest on. We have Gage here, y'all.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Okay, you guys. So, Gage is my fiance, technically. He's like the other partner. I had Nick on. Nick's actually here, you guys. You want to say hi?
Hello.
Y'all can finally see Nick on the visual because the week we had Nick on, the visual wasn't working. So Nick's our live audience for today. So kind of got a little bit of all of us today. So, but yeah, Gage has been we've been together we're going on 6 years now. We are engaged and, you know, we've kind of done a lot of life together. Like we've been together since, I don't know, how old are you when we got together? Like 16, 17?
16 going on 17.
And I was 17 going on 18. So yeah, we've been together for a while, so we're going to kind of dive into everything with each other and kind of talk about our history and talk about a little bit coming out stories and whatnot. So we're going to kind of jump into that. But first things first, you know, what are your pronouns? What do you go by?
He, him.
And then what's your kind of like sexual preference? Like what's your part in the Rainbow Mafia? That's what I have to say.
Just gay.
All right, perfect. So yeah, let's kind of jump right into your story right away. You know, what's your coming out story? You know, where did you know, when did it happen? How old were you? Kind of take us on that journey.
So I was 16 years old, and I actually never really came out. Like I'm gay. I just kind of so the guy I was dating at the time, we kind of just made I just made a Facebook post and that I was in a relationship with the guy. So that's my coming out story. Nothing special. So
what about like your family? You know, like what was it like coming out to them? Was it scary? Was it exciting?
No, I
didn't care.
I just didn't care. I was like, it is what it is. So
you feel like you dealt with any like homophobia?
Oh yeah, definitely in high school. Yeah. So all the people that I know that I went to high school with, yeah.
Any of y'all watching?
Yeah, if any of you all watching, yeah, I had it a lot throughout my second high school. Not my first one, I was too young, and my third one was way too big, so it really didn't even care, and everyone who they were at that third high school. But the second one, yeah, it was real.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, you know, did the homophobia like stop you at all? Like, was it bad? No, it was just kind of.
There was the groups that everyone had, and that was what you needed to like get through like the school day or whatnot, or have enough support if you didn't have it at home. So.
What do you feel? Would you give any like what's advice that you would give to somebody who's like dealing with homophobia or like they're afraid to come out or anything like that?
If there was like two questions.
Answer both.
If you're afraid of coming out, just when it's your time, it's your time. Obviously there's there's right and wrong times for everything, but you'll know when it's your time and the right time for you.
And then dealing with homophobia, what advice would you give on that?
Learn to let it go. The sooner and earlier on in your life you learn to let it go, it's easier for later on life experiences and occasions or incidents or whatever you may happen.
For sure. I love that. Yeah, definitely if you guys are dealing with homophobia, like just learn to let it go. Like you said, it's just kind of something you have to like work through. I feel like a long time ago it was like a really big deal, and like we're kind of progressing in the world to like not it being as much of a big deal. Like people can just live like how they want to. But I feel like there's still the generations before us that are always gonna.
It's necessarily not even like before us. Even the ones that are our generation have, how they've grown up and been taught as children, like adults teaching the children has like an effect on them too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So you guys were both from, so Gage and I, like we said, we've been together for a long ass time, like 6 years is a long time. And so we've kind of done a lot of things in life together, like moving all over the place together. So we both lived in Wisconsin when we first met, and we actually, do you want to tell our meeting story? Do you want to tell how we met?
Haven't you already said it?
No,
you haven't.
I don't think I've ever talked about it. Do you remember?
I barely.
We met at like a college event, and we were both in high school.
Yeah, for like all the high schools got together at the WITC, and I met Toby there. But yeah, he was in a relationship at the time, and
Yeah, that's where I first like saw Gage, and like
Interaction, yeah.
where we come from. There's like what, like 6 gay people at the time
Okay,
growing up. There
yeah,
was not many.
6 to like 11 gay people
Yeah.
within like 4 counties, so everyone already knew everyone,
Yeah.
and
I already knew Gage like
Yeah.
from him dating like previous people that I had talked to. So like it was just like I already knew who he was, and like so we didn't really like talk at the event. And then I had a boyfriend at the time, and then me and that boyfriend broke up, and that's when I think I added you on Facebook. And I remember like you messaged me right away, and he was like, "Do I know you?" Like being all bitchy, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "No, probably not. I just know you through like mutual people." And then his little ass goes, "You got Snapchat?" And I was like, "Ooh, this boy's thirsty." Like whatever. And I didn't think it was gonna turn into anything. Like I never expected a relationship because
it was
I didn't want a
the summer.
relationship.
The summer I was going 17 to 18. 17 to 18.
16 to 17, because you were 2 years behind me.
No,
I had turned
'cause
18 that year.
It was before then because I was dating my ex at 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
like we did it like that summer, and like everything moved like really, really quick. I don't think either of us were really looking for a relationship at the time. Like I wasn't. I know that for
No.
sure. Like
wasn't, but it just kind of went with the flow.
yeah,
So
it just kind of all happened. But anyways, we were talking about Wisconsin. Like we both lived in Wisconsin first, so I kind of want to talk about like what's been your experiences, like being gay in Wisconsin, gay in Minnesota, and then gay in like Austin area now.
well, gay in Wisconsin's terrible. Like gay in Wisconsin is terrible. Minnesota, it's Minnesota. It's just cold there, so it's that's all I can say for Minnesota. Then, but down here in Austin, it's a whole nother. There's a whole type of breed down here. Everyone is just open and weird. So
Keep Austin weird.
Yeah.
That's our slogan. Yeah, I definitely think like when we moved from, I mean, being gay in Wisconsin, like it was small town.
Yeah,
like, I've talked about that before. It's very small town minded and just not like the best of vibes and whatnot.
it's
And
just
then,
like small, and everyone's closed minded there.
Everybody
Legitimately,
knows
we had to
everyone.
drive 2.5 hours to the nearest metro city. If people aren't like familiar with metro, it's like a big city. In Minneapolis is like the biggest city.
We live in
versus
Northwest
like
Wisconsin.
Madison was the next closest, and then Chicago. So it was like
So we would go to Minnesota all the time, and that's kind of how we figured out that we wanted to move there. And we lived there for what, a year and a half?
year and a half, yeah. And then
And
we moved back.
I think being gay in Minnesota was like,
It was fun, but
It
we
was fun.
moved at the worst time because COVID legitimately
Mhm.
happened when we moved to
Immediately
Minnesota.
after.
So it was like, well, that kind of shot that one right in the foot.
yeah. So we only lived there. I mean, we lived there for a short period of time, but I mean, it was fun. Like, I definitely think like it opened our eyes more to like the culture and whatnot there. I will say, like, you were pretty young when we lived in Minnesota, so it wasn't like we could go.
I
like,
wasn't
downtown.
21 either, so I was like,
Yeah, and so like it was kind of a learning experience
Yeah.
for us of just like meeting other gay people because we really didn't have gay friends living
No.
in Wisconsin, and then we had more gay friends in Minnesota. So it was like, I mean, we met a lot of cool people there. Not that we really talk to most of them anymore, but I mean, we met a lot of good people there, and it was overall a good time. But yeah, living in Austin definitely like
it's
I
just
feel
a
like
whole different vibe and breed down
Yeah.
here. It's very open, and that's one of the things that we were looking for, especially the nice weather.
right. And like I think I've said it before, like you can literally be whoever you want to be
Mhm.
in Austin, and I think that's something we've both kind of figured out is like just living more of like who we want to be and like whatnot, and like I just love Austin. I can't say how much I love Austin enough. Like I love living here. It's just like free and open and whatnot, like you said. So yeah. So I mean, we talked a little bit about our relationship history and whatnot, of like how we met and whatnot, and I mean, we've gone through a lot of things. Like I think a lot of people look at our relationship now and they're like, oh my god, they've been together so long, like their relationship's perfect. But I just want to be the first one to say like no relationship's perfect, period, like at all. We've like when I say we've gone through a lot of things together, you guys, like we have moved multiple times together. We've gone through divorces in our families together. We've gone through family troubles together. We've gone through
Just family drama.
having pets together.
Yeah.
Like we've had technically 2 cats together. And then we've gone through like financial things together. Like we've gone through so much. And so I mean that's a little bit of our history, but like I guess kind of what is for I guess I don't know how to word this, but like what advice like healthy relationship wise, like what would you say is some advice you would give on like a healthy relationship? Because I think we've kind of figured that out in the years.
Communication.
That's it, just
Well,
communication.
no, just communication. Patience, communication, understanding, learning to take time and then process things and not like overload your mind or think that, oh, it's another like burden or whatnot. You gotta like actually sit down and think and talk to yourself and be like, hey, look, do I really want this? Because what you may think you might want today is going to be different tomorrow or like next week or like next month or whatever situation or whatever you're going through. But yeah, definitely taking time, communication, and then having patience is a big one. And then really knowing and loving yourself too. That'll help your relationship like to the moon and back. Like if you don't know yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you got to do it in all the ways and all the aspects within yourself, because if you don't, it's not a good foundation. In any business or relationship, you got to have a strong foundation for it to work and succeed.
For sure. And I agree with you on like the whole communication part. Like I feel like every couple that you guys see that's been together for a long time is always like, oh my god, communication's number one, but like it quite literally is, because like
it like you cannot stress that enough. Like you just communication legitimately is like the number one key in like a good healthy standing relationship.
Like if you feel like you can't talk to your partner about certain things, like you definitely need to like take a step back and reevaluate things, in my opinion, just because.
And that's where I went like, oh, you need time to think about what you actually do want, and then looking out what's best for you, but also looking out what's best for your partner or partners or whatever you want to look at it, and looking at all those aspects and dynamics of it.
For sure. And like the whole what you said about like loving yourself too, like that's like that,
you can't put your love on someone else. You won't. It just sets it up for not a good foundation if you have reliance on everything else but yourself. Like I've had a lot of people tell me like, oh, you can't put like a love in like a car or like a bag because it's just a material thing, or you can't put your love on someone because what if they leave you like the next day? So like that's where it goes in like the aspect, like you have to have actual genuine love and happiness within yourself in order for like things to work out and still like make a good positive impact for your day. And it's the road's like never ending with that conversation. So
I literally want to do a whole episode just on like based off of like loving yourself, because it's like you can't like rely on someone else to give you all of the love and happiness. Obviously like you're gonna get happiness from your partners or partner, in our case partners, but like you're gonna get happiness from them, but you can't always rely on that, because you just have to make sure you're happy yourself. Like I'm pretty sure that's like a RuPaul quote, you guys. Like we're horrible gays. Like we don't watch Drag Race. I'm sorry. Everybody watches Drag Race out there, but he literally says that all the time. It's like, how are you gonna love someone else if you can't love yourself? So that's like a whole episode topic.
And like that's another thing too, is like when you're understanding yourself and you have like done deep dives, because I've done a lot of deep dives within myself.
Deep dive king over here.
I really have. But when you don't, then it's so much harder to understand and realize what your partner may or may not be going through. And it's just when you understand like more aspects about yourself, it'll help you understand more aspects about somebody else that may not understand or has progressed as farther or farthest as you have too.
Look at all this advice, you guys. Oh my god, we got like I don't even know.
Like I said, I do a lot of deep dives within myself.
Yeah, deep dives in himself, and then also deep dives of random shit, you guys. Like he is always talking to me about random stuff, and I'm like, yeah. I ain't got no idea what you're talking about. You're right. I just nod. I'm like, okay. Okay, so along with like our dating or our relationship history of like dating and whatnot, I want to talk about being engaged for starters. Do you want to tell a story? Do you want to tell a story about how we got engaged? And then we'll talk a little bit more about being engaged and what that means and whatnot for us at least.
Yeah. So let's see here. Well, it was last year.
We're coming up actually. Our anniversary will be on Tuesday of being engaged. So it's Valentine's Day.
Last year in Valentine's Day. So I ordered the ring like I think 2 weeks, week and a half prior to that Valentine's Day, because I was like, I don't even remember how it all went. I was like texted him. I was like, oh, send me the picture of the ring you want, and like obviously he knew that.
Gave it away.
Yeah, he knew I was gonna get it. I forgot what it was looked like and whatnot. But I ordered it and and then I was like, let's go get like a really nice dinner. And for everyone that is like in the Eau Claire area or Wisconsin area, if you have not been to the Informalist in Eau Claire, definitely 10 out of 10 recommend that place. Very good. It's very upscale for Eau Claire.
Very accommodating too.
Yeah, and they have healthy options too, so which is really a good plus. But their pizza, and just get a full bottle of wine. Just get the full bottle. It's so good. But I got a reservation there. It was really they had like a whole different like vibe for Valentine's Day, which is really nice.
Romantic, dark lighting.
Yeah, it was really, really pretty there. So I have the ring at this point. And then we got done with the whole meal. We had a really good meal, really good discussions, and we're talking and little stuff here and there. But the more towards the meal, we end up. I'm paying, and he's so antsy because he doesn't know when I'm going to get down on one knee. But he gets up and he leaves, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, oh.
I didn't like walk out.
Well,
I was ready to go because you were just stalling, and I was like, okay, let's go home.
Nervous, but yeah. So gets up, and then I was like, oh wait, I was still holding his hand, and I was like, and then I get down on one knee, and then you guys, I kid you not, I got a leg cramp on my left side where my sciatica got pulled that year too, and it was the funniest thing ever, and I was like trying to massage it out, and then still like make this as like lovey-dovey as possible because I was like fuck, and then the whole wait staff was like watching me.
They were like applauding, but like they were all so excited.
Yeah, they were watching. They already knew. So and then I asked them, I was like, oh, Toby John Cuffle, will you marry me? And
I said no. I'm just kidding.
Nick looks up. So yeah, and then that was when we got engaged, and I got a leg cramp in that moment. So I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it was. I feel like me and Gage have like this very like subtly like we'll just joke around about a lot of things, and so I remember like when you got the leg cramp, it was just like a big joke for us afterwards. It was so funny, but yeah, I mean it was like
it hurt. I was in pain.
It was a cute little proposal. I kind of expected it.
Yeah, I didn't want to go too much because I was like,
yeah,
it was a good dinner, and I know that we love that restaurant, so it was like we'll just go there, keep it.
And you
had
to work literally that night.
Yeah, I had to work that night, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was cute. I literally remember that day like it was yesterday. So, but yeah, I mean, for us, like, I guess, what does it mean to like be engaged? Like, is it like, do you feel like it's different?
Honestly,
it's
the same. If I'm being honest, it's just the same.
Yeah, I feel like like a lot of people like look forward to like, oh my God, I can't wait to be engaged, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I like being engaged, but it doesn't really change anything for our relationship. It's not like
just a bigger ring on your finger.
That's where y'all get your man to get you a big ring, y'all. I didn't even want a big ring though at first. Like I was like,
he's lying.
Like little. I did not. I literally picked out a small ring, and then you were like, go bigger, and then I did show the ring.
Yeah, you're lying. Stop.
It's a big old ring.
3 carats.
I love it, and like I did not want a big ring at first, and then I changed my mind later on. I was like, okay, the bigger the better, y'all.
7 times.
And now that we're like, if we ever get married, I'm like, I want even bigger. Like bigger the better. I don't know. I like people to look at it. I want it. I mean, if I'm gonna have it on my finger, I want people to look at it, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about what ring I wear. He wears like a silver band. Like he does not care. Such a man over here. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I was saying, like a lot of people like look forward to being engaged, but like it really doesn't change a lot about your relationship.
It's like so normalized that we gotta get engaged, and speed up the process, and then what are you gonna do after it?
That was like the number one thing.
Everyone's like, when's the wedding? When's the wedding?
Well, like before we got engaged, everybody was like, when are you getting engaged? Yeah. And then we were like, we're not in any rush. Like we're still really young, and like that's why we're also not in like any rush to get married. Like even if we do get married, like marriage isn't like the number one thing on our mind right now. Like we have so much more stuff we're trying to like just deal with in a way. Yeah, like trying to do more and whatnot. And so like we're not really like we need to get married tomorrow. Like whatever. I love marriage and I love people getting married, but like we've also seen so much like divorce in our lives growing up, and so I think there's also that fear of marriage for us. Right. Childhood trauma. But like yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things that
it's really, at least our concerns, and that's basically
And so was being engaged. Like everybody was like, "When are you getting engaged? Like you've been together for so long. Like why aren't you engaged yet?" And I was just like, "I'm not in a rush for it. Like that's just not my biggest concern in life. Like we're already together, so it's whatever." All right, next question for you. This is a juicy question. The same one I asked Nick is, what's it like being in a throuple?
I love it.
Why? What do you love about it? Let's get the first thing off the table here. I'm pretty sure it was your idea in the first place.
It was not
my idea. I've said this before.
I've always wanted a throuple.
I've said this before that like I wanted nothing to do with it at first, like, and I wanted nothing to do with Nick, and like I've talked about that so many times, but like yeah, I definitely think it was like kind of your idea and like whatnot. But yeah, like what's it like for you? Like what do you like about it? What do you not like about it, if anything?
Honestly, there's nothing I don't like about it. But I love everything about it. It's just. I just love everything about it. I don't know, like
like the attention, like
Definitely the attention. Yeah, I love attention. I'm into attention.
Gage's
Yeah.
love language is touch.
Yeah.
If anybody out there, love language is touch. It's
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah, he's a Cancer.
So it's like,
and now we have a dog whose love language is touch too.
yeah,
Like
the dog is literally all three of us together in a dog. It's crazy.
It's
but no, definitely the attention. Just like having like another person, like me and Nick always are on each other's toes, so we're always like keeping each other upright and whatnot, which is like exciting because Toby's really bland.
Bitch. I don't like that.
Just okay.
I'm
and then Nick is like,
Nick's our decision maker in a relationship, honestly.
It works out really great. Yeah, he's looking at us right now.
Oh, it's funny. All right, next thing for you. We're kind of like rounding it out here. So where can people find you on your socials? What are you comfortable with giving?
My Instagram is GMCUPER21.
Yeah, if y'all want to go follow him on Instagram, he'll be, I mean, you don't post like over and over, but if y'all go follow him on Instagram, you know, you can see his little pictures and whatnot.
His little
pictures, little squares. And then last question is, I asked this to Nick as well.
I want to add back to the throuple thing after.
Oh, okay. Go for it now.
So like in Wisconsin, it was like frowned upon on like throuples and whatnot. People always were like, that's disgusting, that's gross, why would you do that?
Even like a little sex talk here, like threesomes are like the worst thing ever back where we're from. Like nobody likes to talk about that stuff. And then open relationships, all of it. And then
down here is like everyone is like, well,
everybody be messing around.
Everyone is. But no, definitely like for anyone that's like, ooh, could I be in a throuple? Like talk to your communication to your partner, communicate to your partner about it, because you never know what your partner may be thinking or not thinking. Like, and that's another thing too in a relationship, you can't assume.
Right.
You cannot assume, and you were like 110%. It's this, that 1% chance. It's gonna be something else.
Right.
Yeah, definitely you cannot assume in your relationship too. That'll help you keep a healthy and happy relationship as well. But if you're like ever second guessing, you're like, oh, I think maybe adding a third person would, you can't look at it as it's gonna help or save your relationship. That's one way of not looking at it. That's not why you're looking for a third person, and that's definitely not why you should be with your partner who you have at that moment. But like the way I went in, like me and Toby, like we've we've had ups and downs, many ups and downs over and over, all over the place, all over the world. But we always knew that we loved each other, and we always knew that we were happy. And even though we might had moments where we didn't or weren't happy, we both knew that we still loved each other at the end of the day. And I know that's why our relationship's so strong. But if you've ever thought about adding a third to in your relationship, just sit there and talk and communicate with your partner about it.
Some of y'all partner might be a lot more interested in it than you think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be like
and
adding a third.
It's like you definitely don't like talk about it and then be like, get butthurt, like, oh, why? Well, why not? And like make them feel bad or pressure them. Like don't do that. Like you can always tap or re-engage the conversation more than once, because it's gonna be uncomfortable, and if your partner's like, well, are you cheating on me? Do you not love me anymore? Like you have to reassure them, like, hey, like it's nothing like that.
This is all the things that I said to Gage when he first brought it up.
That's why I'm bringing it up now. You can't. If you know, like...
And it doesn't have to be a third person. Like, there's so many more things out there now of, like, open relationships, like open
dabble,
marriages.
Like, play around. The world is your game. You just got to figure out how to play the game.
Right. Yeah. I like that. Okay, last question for you is, any advice do you want to leave people with? Anything, any piece of advice?
Depends on what you're looking for.
Well, something pertaining to the podcast. This is a gay podcast. What's some gay advice you want to give out? You've given out a lot already, but...
Yeah, if anyone's looking for more advice in, like, a certain topic or anything or whatnot, feel free to, like, DM me on Instagram.
Maybe we'll go into a deep dive on the podcast.
Yeah.
About
I already have, like, a lot, yeah. There's a lot in there. Some end of the advice?
Yeah, any advice? Any advice to like maybe someone coming out or somebody in the closet or somebody, you know, just going through something, anything. We talk about mental health on this podcast all the time, y'all.
Legitly, you can create anything out of your life. So find what you want, write it down, and make it happen. Like, not even shitting you. Like, if I could just a little bit of my brain and like put it in the computer so you guys can see, the world is a lot bigger than what you think or even believe or what your parents have told you. It's huge.
I love it. Do you want to add anything else over there, our little crowd?
What we're definitely gonna do an episode.
Or yeah, we're gonna
with
do
all
an
three of
episode
us.
all throuple talk. And
I'm like how
talk.
I met Nick, and like we'll go deep dive into that and a little bit more. And
you want to add anything? The microphone's all yours.
Just be you. Live your life.
Yeah.
It's your life. You only get one. Live it the way you want to live it, and
be happy. There was not enough happiness or love in this world, and like I always tell people, it's like a different kind of love that the three of us have that just no one understands unless you've like encountered it.
And be free.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be free. Live your life.
I love it. All right, y'all. That's all we got for you guys today. As you guys know, you can always go follow the Say Gay podcast on all social medias. We are streaming on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and then we have literally all socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. Go follow us, and then follow Gage on Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow Nick on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
It's Nick Jameer, NIKKGEMIR.
You guys can go follow them. Follow the Say Gay podcast. And I told you guys last week, merch is coming soon. We are like getting to the final rounds of this stuff. Like I've been talking to y'all about it so much.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm working with some like more like legal stuff now because trademarks and all that bullshit that you gotta go through. It's so much stuff I did not know about, and so now I'm like, oh shit, I gotta cover my ass before we do this. So getting that figured out, and then we're gonna be good to go. And as you guys know, next week I'm gonna be going back to Wisconsin, so I will be having like one of my favorite guests that I'm ever gonna have on, which is my mom. Gage has a great relationship with my mom, and that's not even something we talked about, but she'll be on. I think next week I'm gonna have her on as long as she's okay with it. She better be, you know. She better be. She owes me. I don't know what she owes me for, but she owes me.
She owes me too.
But yeah, so that'll be exciting the next few weeks of content, but yeah, I think that's we got for you guys today. So I love you guys as always, and I will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.